Hey everyone, Denise here again with another card tutorial for you. First, I apologize for the shadow and the glare. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of natural light in my basement when I'm filming this, and this is the only time I can kind of get them done for you. And so we have to deal with the shadow. I apologize. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for taking the class. Do us a favor and go to the bottom of your screen and click subscribe on this YouTube channel and click that bell if these tutorials are helpful for you. That way you can get notified anytime that we post another one. And if the video is helpful to you, whether or not you took the class, if you have your own dies, you can follow along, just substitute in. So if this is helpful for you or something new for you, go ahead and click that like button so that we know that this is something to continue with. All right, so today I'm going to give you the tutorial on this happy birthday card. I'm going to do it both ways because I never really know if this is right side up or not. So we're going to do this happy birthday. It's a shaker card. So we're going to do that. I'm going to open it up because I'm not actually going to make it. You are going to make it, but we don't have many kits left. They're very limited. And if I make one, that takes one out of the running. So I want to make sure that there's enough kits for everybody who wants one. So as you see here, right, we have a little shaker. Well, you can't always see them so much. We have a little shaker. Okay, so you have then your flowers. Pop them to the side. You have some pearls, pop them to the side. You have an envelope you're not going to need for now, pop it to the side. You have a card base. All right, so this is going to be a regular opening card. So the fold goes to your left. And then you've got this piece of acetate. Hang on to that. You are going to need some inks and an ink, a blending tool. I tend to use brushes, so you can use brushes, a blending tool, whatever you normally blend ink with. If you're new to it, I really don't recommend the finger daubers because they're going to take forever and you're not going to get the same kind of effect here. I only used blue and yellow. I forget which blue I used. It was Distress Oxide though. It may have been Salty Ocean, and it might have been Squeezed Lemonade, but that's how I got the green. I know, I apologize again for the glare. But if you look here, you can see the yellow, the blue, and then that green that came in. And that green is just, and you see it up there as well, that green is really just the over blending of the two. Now we do have a video on blending inks, and I did one with polka dots and it's definitely not as nice as this, but it gives you the idea. So I'm going to encourage you, if you don't know how to do this, to head on over to that video first on ink blending and take a look at that. You're going to specifically want to fast forward, well, you can watch the whole thing, but you're going to want to fast forward for this card to the spot where it looks like I'm doing like little polka dots all over the place. Now, the first card that I did on there with the yellow, yeah, it doesn't look so hot, but the technique is the same. Just because I picked a bad ink to blend with doesn't mean that the technique isn't good. It just means I picked a bad ink. Excuse me. So that's how we got this. So I encourage you, if you're not sure how to do this, to head on over to that video and take this with you, because this is what you're going to ink blend on. Now, in class, we ink blended first and then we die cut, which made it so much easier. You don't have that option because we didn't know if you had this die and we didn't want to send you a birthday card with no birthday thing. So be very careful when you go over these with your blending tool, whatever it is you're using, because they are very delicate. All right. Now, they are going to be backed by a piece of cellophane, so it's okay. If it rips a little bit, you're going to be able on the back to just kind of pop it back down onto that plastic. But you want to be as careful as possible with as delicate as this is. So we're going to assume that you have gone to that video to color this and you have come back. The beauty of video is that you can stop, pause, rewind, do whatever you need to do, especially if I'm speaking too quickly for you, and I apologize if that's the case. But once you've gotten that ink blending done, you're going to come on back here to this, or stop, go back and come now, or do it as you're listening because you know how to do it. Shaker cards are so easy. You are going, first of all, to take this cellophane piece, and you're going to need some Dries Clear liquid glue. Now, we use the Barely Arts Dries Clear Glue at the store because we are in New York and it does get below freezing here. So the Art Glitter Glue, which has always been my favorite for years, is not necessarily optimal for winter here. And the Art Glitter Glue, people will tell you, you cannot have it shipped here during the winter because when it freezes, it loses its adhesive properties. And people like me don't listen and just, think they're making it up. And, people like Amazon don't care. They just send it to you, and other stores will send it. And I got a batch a few times and I had to dump out literally half the bottle, no matter the size of the bottle. And if you know how expensive the glue is, I cried the entire time. But it took more than half a bottle for it to become glue again. The rest of it, it was just like white, thin water. Skim milk is thicker than what this was. So we use the Barely Art Glue because in colder temperatures or places where it freezes, it doesn't share that property with Art Glitter Glue, and it will not freeze, and it will always have the adhesion to it, which is why that's what we sell at the store. So that's what I'm going to recommend for you. One of those two, whatever you have on hand. I do not recommend tape runner for this. So you're going to put a little bit of glue, not in the four corners exactly, a little bit outside of those four corners. You're going to want it. You don't want it to spill over too much, but you want it to be close. So once you get that done, you see where you have to put the glue, right? So you've got some space there. So once that's done, go ahead and press it down. Let the glue ooze out. You see I'm on a $1.25 store. Piece of tablecloth. I always do something like that with glue because it just I like paper, and you'll see underneath maybe I have grid paper, but with something with glue, it's it's gonna stick, and I don't want to ruin my card. And plastic, I can just pop it right up. So I'm going to wait for that to dry a little bit, and I'll be able to tell a few minutes later when it's starting to dry because of course it's going to change colors. So once that happens, I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to have it face up though, where my color is, right? So I'm going to have this part, the colored part, face up. I'm going to take my card base and this. And now you need foam tape. With shaker cards, it is always best to use the lined foam tape. I tend to use a 1/4-inch tape because I tend to get close to the edges with my die cuts. I recommend the 1/4-inch tape for you for this one. This one looks like maybe one side could take the 1/2 inch, but not the other. But again, always just the full tape. If you do the individual dots, or squares, the dots are no good because stuff will fall out, and the squares, if they're not right next to each other and you're using something like glitter, it'll come out. Defeat the whole purpose of the shaker card, and then you have glitter or sequins everywhere. So the line will do it. So you put your line of foam tape almost to the edge, not quite edge to edge, almost to the edge, but inside the die, right? I would start with the other side too. Whether you start with the top and bottom or left and right is up to you, but I would do those. I wouldn't go around. I would do left and right and then top bottom, or the other way. That way I'm here, and then I can just fill in. And as I'm filling in, I'm probably cutting the tape as I do this because again, I don't want any gaps no matter how small they are. So I'm going to press that tape down. I'm pretending I have foam tape here. I'm going to press that tape down to make sure I have a good adhesion onto that acetate piece. The clear piece is the acetate piece, just to be clear. So then I'm going to take my base. I'm going to make sure it opens properly, right? Fold is to the left, opens properly. I'm going to take the sequins that were in my kit. You should have sequins. I don't have them here, but that's, I just grabbed a kit to do this with. So you should have some sequins. Pop your sequins in the middle. Now you don't want a mound of them because it will prevent this from sticking down. So you want to spread them out. Now, one trick that I do use, that I know lots of people use, is I will take if you see here, like I'm banging the shaker down so you can see. Now, after banging it down, you see how I still have some up there? I take my tape runner and I do one little flip, like that, like literally flip, just a little itty bitty thing. I don't want a lot of tape there. I don't even want a full, even though the pieces are small, I just want an itty bitty, just quick, 3-4 times somewhere, because then I have some that will stay and you'll see them instead of all the rest of them. Because remember, all the rest of them have fallen to the bottom. So what's the point of a shaker card if you don't see the little pieces? Now, yes, you're supposed to shake it, but I want somebody to know that there's stuff in there and maybe to shake it. And if they don't see that, they might not think of it. So when I do that, I'm gonna put my sequins in. I'm just gonna spread them around. I don't wanna spread them too far. I wanna keep them in the middle because I don't want them to interfere with me putting down my piece. I'm going to remove all of the paper from my tape. And then I am very carefully, I get one shot at this, going to center it and pop it down. Press, make sure it's down. And there you have it. Now again, this is not colored because I want to save the kit, but you would press and it's down. Now the flowers, just take your flowers, and we have doubled them up. You might have different sizes, you might have the same sizes. I think we all have the same sizes there. So what I would do is I would offset the petal. And what that means is if this one has the petal facing up, then I would just twist this so that they're not directly on top of each other, because I don't want two like this, right? What's the point of that? You don't even see it. I want it offset. So I would glue these together first. I did 1, 2, 3. I used 6. I have more in this kit than that. If you do, you can use more than that, or you can save them for another project. So when I glued them, I put just a dot of the Dry's Clear glue in the middle, and then I offset, I popped it down. I just held it there for a minute just to, wait for it to set. Then I went on to the next. I put 2 here. As you can see, I'm going to do it this way too. 2 at the bottom. And then this, if you can see under there, has a pop dot underneath. See it right there? This has a pop dot, so it gave it some dimension. And it's only after these 2 and this one has been pop dotted are on the card, only then will I add my little drop of glue and my pearl. I would not put my pearls on first because it's going to make it hard for me to hold that flower down and just make sure that it sticks to the card, because I'm going to use the Dry's Clear glue for that as well. And you can even see, I hope you can see, you might not be able to see, I don't know how clear it is. On this flower here next to my finger, you may, moving it to get some light, there we go. You may be able to see that there's a little bit of glue right there. But again, it dries clear. And like I say in class all the time, if somebody's going to look at your card, your handmade creation that you've chosen to send to them, and say, ooh, I see the glue, they get crossed right off the list. They are what I call not card worthy. So don't be afraid of seeing a little bit of glue. It's going to happen. It happens on mine all the time. And once you're done with that, I would leave it to the side to just set. These pearls can take a while to set. I tend to leave mine overnight just to be safe. With a little bit of glue and a little pearl, it probably doesn't need to be, but I like to just put it away and let it, like I say, let it cure overnight. And that way I know I'm safe, so that when I pop it in an envelope, it's gonna be fine. All right, I hope that you've enjoyed this card. I hope that you make lots. Don't forget to post your creations, especially if you're using a different color ink. We'd love to see what you come up with. Thanks for taking this class. We hope you'll take them again with us soon. Don't forget to post again your creation on the Facebook page, which is Scrapbooking Stuff Group. And if you're in need of any of the supplies that we used in class, that were given to people in class to use for that period, you're out of ink, you don't have something you need some of the glue, feel free to contact Christina through the Facebook page or at licraftstop.com and go ahead and throw those in your cart. We'll see you soon. Thanks for taking the class. Come again.